What's up, everybody? It is I, Tevin Chapo. Friends call me Chop, and we are back with another amazing episode of Chop Logic, where we get to the logic of things in my very own special Chop way. Now, today, on this fine day, we have a very special guest in the building. You know, she is a mindfulness wellness coach. She is a fellow podcaster, just all around, just great human being. We have Courtney Garner of the Garner Growth Podcast. Courtney, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good. Thank you for having me here.
You know, she's trying to be real wholesome. Because,
I am. I'm a wholesome person.
Right. When the cameras wasn't rolling. Yeah. We ain't going to talk about what.
That's behind the scenes. That's the BTS.
Word. Yeah. Check the Patreon if you want to see what she was on. But yeah, just so Corey, thank you for coming to the show. First and foremost, I appreciate you just being a guest. You know, we've known each other for a little minute now. Minute. And, you know, just want you to kind of just like, you know, just tell the audience just more about yourself and more about what it is that you do.
All right.
You know, in your own words.
In my own words. I'm a mindfulness expert. I really have focused the last, I would say since 2010, because I'm a nurse first. So I got into nursing because I was curious about how the human body works. It's my favorite thing. I think it's God's greatest creation. And I figure the more we know how it works, the better we can work with it. You know, maximize it, and then fix it when something's wrong. So I got into nursing. Then from my own personal needs for growth, fixing my relationship, I got into meditation, mindfulness. I explored things like Tantra. And I was a coach, teacher, did a lot of events and stuff around that. Work with couples, work with men, women, and just focused on helping people to overcome things like trauma, and get to know themselves better, you know. And then in the last phase of that, I got more into meditation. And mindfulness really is just a practice of getting to know yourself, right? Like, to me, awareness is everything. Like, if you are aware of yourself and you're aware of the world around you and aware of other people, like, that's all you need. You know, that's your intuition. And so you can do a lot as you become more and more aware. So for me, meditation is training your mind to be more aware, be more present. And I figure also with the way that we have all this technology and social media, you kind of need a remedy for all the scrolling that we do, all the ways that we kind of glitch our brains out and become more and more distracted. You need a remedy. And for me, mindfulness does that. And I believe it can do that for anybody.
No, yeah, for sure. Definitely. I believe in a lot of the same things. I've seen just the transformation that mindfulness has had and just my well-being across the board. And it's definitely a journey that I think everybody should take, you know. So what were some of like the absolute first steps? I know you said that, you know, started with nursing and everything like that, but what was kind of like the pivot for you to say like, hey, I want to take more of the mindfulness route? Like, what was that moment?
That it would be really experiencing the results. And I would say that moment was when my brain or just my awareness, I experienced real peace. And once I experienced that real peace, you can just never go back. And it's not even just like the absence of thought. It's just like that solid presence in the moment and the feeling that your mind and your body is all in the same place at the same time. And I didn't realize up until that point that I was so fragmented. My body would be somewhere, my mind somewhere else, you know, whether it's work, trying to sleep and your mind's racing. That was a big thing that got me into to do meditation harder was I couldn't sleep. Like, I could not shut my brain off. And as a nurse, you're almost trained to be an overthinker and be like constantly analyzing, constantly solving problems. You have a lot to process. And so between that and just the way that I was raised as a busybody, like, I was in a state of chaos. And once I got into the eye of the storm with meditation, like, I was like, this is it. It's like this like deliciousness in your spirit. Like, it's hard to put into words, but it just feels so good to be present and to be at one point in time and space together.
No, for sure. Yeah. You know, I think that, again, mindfulness is just such a key thing, but a lot of people don't really practice it as much as they think they do. Or even just, even if they think that they do, they haven't really, implement like the proper things. So like, I know you spoke a lot about like meditation, and can you kind of speak towards like the different kinds of meditation and what they do, and just like what type of results should you get doing meditation consistently?
That's a good question. And I've explored different ways of meditating too. So any practice that gets your mind and your body doing the same thing at the same time. A lot of times athletes, I really resonate with athletes because in their zone, you get into a zone, it's you like just being unified. You're really in it. And that in it means that my mind and my body are working together in unison at the same time. So you can do things like athletics, you can do sports. It doesn't always have to be sitting down. I always tell people, work with where you're at. So if you are not at a place where you can sit down and be still and experience stillness, and it's just so far-fetched for you, then start with something physical and kind of wind yourself down. Because what happens when we are in a more chaotic, stressed state is we are wound up. And so if you wind yourself down first by using your body, because it's very like physical, and it's the container of our energy. So if you can get your physical container in a certain state of balance, your mind follows, and it's a lot easier than you trying to like go from being Tasmanian devil, to sitting in Zen. Like, it's just not realistic. So my favorite thing to do is breath work. We're always breathing. It's very familiar. When you slow your breath down, you are changing your brain waves, right? So you think about like stress, overthinking. It's like, chaotic waves. And when you slow that down, you have more slower oscillations, slower movement of those wavelengths, and even more space in between the peaks and the troughs. And that's what meditation does. It's like changing the channel. Like, how do you change your channel? It's going to be different, but finding those ways to work with your body, because it has to be, it's a two-part thing, work with your body and your mind, bring them together. So meditation through breath work is one of them. Doing physical things like coordinated physical things. So sports, dance, where there's some kind of structure involved, right? Because whenever you create structure, you contain all that chaos, and it helps you be able to feel peace easier. So what's some other ways? One of the ones that's surprising is singing. Mm. Singing has done it for me. Singing is breath work, right? Like, whether you're trying to hold a note or not, like you're breathing out these longer exhales usually, which is breathing slower. So you're slowing down that frequency. So singing definitely works, and you got to focus. You're thinking about the note you're singing or the key or the words. So now you have something to focus on. So finding a focus, even art does it. Art, when you're really focused on something that has, like that needs your attention, it usually will bring you down and like pull you into a zone. So for instance, like one of the things I always say is if there's a higher risk, then that'll bring you into a state of focus faster. So like people who rock climb, they have to be focused. Otherwise they'll die, right? Like one slip, like you're dead. So when you see people doing those high adrenaline things, like they are forcing themselves through survival to focus. And I'm saying, don't you have to do all that? But like when you are doing things that you care about the result, like art, I got to really focus when I'm painting, like on the details that I'm doing. Because if I mess up, like I mess up my art piece, and I care about that. When you're playing basketball, you really got to focus on shooting, your technique, your form, like hand-eye coordination. Because if you don't, you're going to keep missing. So I think that's another key to getting your mind and your body to work together. That's really the key to it. Yeah,
that's true. Especially I like what you said in terms of being a creative. It's super imperative to have that mind-body connection. Mm-hmm. And I know you're a creative. I've heard the music. I've seen the art.
You've seen, huh?
Kind of tell me a little bit more about, talk about more about your creative journey and just like what kind of instilled those types of things into you.
I am just a creative. Like I can't help it. I think that's, if I don't do it, then I feel like depressed. Like it's a path of, it's a flow of energy that I feel like if it's blocked or it's not flowing, I'll feel the impact holistically. And so the way that I've always expressed my creativity. It's kind of like I'm a serial creative because it's really the flow of energy. But I like to draw. So you'll see my paintings, you see my art, mixed media. I sew and design clothing. Most of my clothing that I really love, my favorite pieces are the ones that I made. So learning how to sew, another tedious thing, it zones me in, makes me focus. Because if I mess up those stitches, I got to take them out and do it again. Nobody likes to do that.
Hell no.
Right?
Shit's true.
And music. So like I was saying, the breath work. I went through this journey of not liking my voice. Like most of my life, I didn't like my voice. And in 2020, well, that was COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020, I wanted to be intentional about repairing my relationship with my voice. So I hired a vocal coach. And I hired the best vocal coach, which is Willie Norwood. So that's Brandy's and Ray J's dad.
Yeah, I was about, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So he's really good. What I liked about him is I was already in my mindfulness meditation path. And he talks about how it feels when you sing. So I was already super focused on sounding like the person I was trying to sing like, which is a disaster. Like, I'm not going to sound like Mariah Carey. And so he taught me how to feel the note resonating in my different parts of my face, feeling it come out of my body, just like the feeling of it. And there was one point where he had me doing Whitney Houston. He'll just like bring out any random song. And it was Whitney Houston this time. And she's like my auntie. She's not my auntie, but she's my auntie.
Auntie in spirit.
Exactly. And I grew up listening to her songs. And he told me to sing this note, and I did it, and it felt good, and it actually sounded good. And I started to cry. And it was like a healing moment that I had just from having that sound come out of me, like so freely and like in a way that felt good. And that was like a healing moment for me, just like with singing. And I started to like my voice after that. Actually, so on top of that, I went and started a Fiverr and started to get paid for my voice, which then increased my confidence. I've recorded audiobooks, mostly for Black authors, romance novels. I've recorded explainer videos. I had commercials. I did a Barbie brush commercial. I've done a lot of ads. I've done a radio ad imitating Maya for Atlanta before I even moved here. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things. And so getting paid for my voice built on that confidence and even healed that relationship more to where now I like my voice. Like, I like it, and I can listen back to the videos, my episodes without cringing and be like, that sounded good.
No, I love your voice. I think you got a dope voice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was in before I say what I'm about to say, first of all, Brandy and Ray J daddy, I didn't know you was getting chicken like that. I didn't know you had money going crazy.
No, he was actually pretty affordable. I guess relatively, it depends, but I wanted to invest in it, so I did,
Respect.
Yeah, and it was remote too, so it was something that I could do I was in California at the time. But yeah, he's worth it. Whatever rates he's charging now, he's definitely worth it.
She just don't want to tell people she getting to the money. I feel it. But nah, I definitely, I was in yeah, hey, listen, you keep it a secret. I get it. I was in the same boat too. When I was doing video production for the first time, it had to be in front of the camera a lot. That was kind of a hindrance of mine too, was my voice. Shout out to Miss Neely, my boy Jason, we here. That was our video production teacher. And she told me in one of the videos that I had a nasally voice. And I was like 17 when that happened. And I literally lived with that forever. And over time, I just had to learn to overcome it, working different jobs that required me to speak on microphones. Shout out to the Coca-Cola Museum. That was probably like the biggest transformation into that. And then, just kind of getting to a point where I felt comfortable even just doing this again, like speaking on camera and utilizing my voice. And, I've had people say I have a radio voice, things of that nature.
You do. It's a nice depth to it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. But again, it just took a lot of time to kind of get to that point for me, and I didn't hire a vocal coach or anything like that. I think that was an amazing play to make because that, for one, expedites the experience and it gives you that, the expertise of someone who's really in the field, knowing what sounds good, really giving you that motivation. And, you know, that's definitely amazing. You know, when the new music coming out, because I know, I heard this stuff, and you know, if y'all don't know, you know, Courtney been on my head about doing music too. She was trying to tell people I was dropping mixtapes.
I did call you out.
Yeah, so when is your music coming out?
I mean, you know, everything that I'm doing right now is centered around love, and so I am working on a handful of love songs that I'll release. So yeah, I just gotta get in there and record them. But that is on my agenda, is more love songs, because right now we are in a connection crisis, and even myself, having a new wave of being open, you know, to love and what that even means, and even loving myself, like questioning, like, have I really loved myself like fully? How much more, like, how can I dive deeper into that? So the music I'm making is definitely just support that, deepening your connection with love and just being more open to it.
No, that's dope. That's dope. I need to do the same thing. I kind of been deepening my connection with the money, and
well, even that, like, I love myself enough to make myself more money, right? Because money gives you options, and like, I think about my family. I want to give them more options. It takes money, so you can connect those things through love as well. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so what's that journey been looking like from just reconnecting with yourself in terms of how you love yourself?
What have I been doing? I have become an avid journaler. Yeah. I always tried to journal, but it was like hit and miss. And like, I journal every day, probably since 2022. Went to Barbados for 40 days, journaled every day, came back, haven't stopped since then. So that's one way that I do it. And also just spending more time in nature, you know, and then also asking for like more support and being open to it. Always there's a phase of just like being hyper independent to protect myself. And so in order to break down those walls that stop you from really feeling love, receiving love, I started to just be more open to receiving, you know, receiving love, receiving support, asking for help when I need it. One day I asked my nieces they're fraternal twins, but they're 13 now. And last year I asked her, I said, what is one of your favorite things about me? And I asked her because it was a day where like I needed to pick me up. She don't know that, but you know, I just asked her, what is your favorite thing about me? And she gave me like a whole little list, and it was just so sweet. And it built me up. And I never would have thought to ask my niece that. Like, I don't even like talking about myself. And so for me to like extend myself and be like, okay, what is your favorite thing about me? I not only asked, but I received it when she said it, and I felt loved, and it filled me up. And so I just been more receptive to receiving. And when I do that, like, I have so many great experiences. I'm so easy to please. Like, I'll go to the grocery store. The lady at the checking me out is nice. We have a nice little kiki conversation. I go out glowing. Like, I'm already happy, but like, even if I wasn't, that conversation will hype me up, you know? And so I've made myself a lot more sensitive to positive experiences and receiving just little morsels of positive interactions and connection, you know? And one of the biggest things too is looking at my thoughts and how they are, sometimes they'll like take your happiness that you could have and just knock it out of your hand, you know?
Yeah.
Thoughts be doing that. And so I noticed them, and I started to call them out and just hold myself more accountable of like, oh, you're creating a negative story, or like you're doing a worst case scenario when you can go with best case scenario, or even just look at reality, look at the facts in front of you. So just learning how to not be my own enemy, my own antagonist to my happiness is the biggest thing.
Nah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I've never thought to ask anybody their favorite things about me, because I feel like I ain't gonna like the answer for real. Be like, oh, what's your favorite thing about me? Oh, you got a car. I'd be needing a ride sometimes. So be like, God. I'm like, all right. What's your favorite? It's like, you know.
Maybe that also tells you too, like, what your assumptions are, right? Like maybe what your experiences are. Maybe people are taking advantage of you, and you feel like, hey, like, I feel used sometimes instead of like appreciated. And so what you assume, the thought that you assume in your head is just a reflection of your experiences, which is what we're all doing. We're all doing the same thing, you know? But we got to intentionally turn that around and be like, yeah, what is the best case scenario? Like, and I think too, like you, depends on who you ask and where they're at. And that ain't got nothing to do with you where they're at, right? And sometimes we internalize that. And it's like if my niece was like, you're kind of like, you know, she couldn't come up with anything. She might be having a bad day, you know, for herself. But that day she was feeling open and sweet, and she told me what she thought was on her mind. But I could ask her on a different day where she was, you know, hormonal, wasn't feeling it. She could have gave me an answer that made me feel like I wasn't appreciated. So, yeah.
No, I respect that. I respect that. Like I said, I just don't ever think to ask.
Well, I think you're really supportive. I think that's one of the things that I know about you. You're really comfortable to be around. So like when we first filmed, when you film with somebody, it's a vulnerable thing. And so the person usually is nervous if they're not used to it. And I remember I told you this too. I was like, you're actually really comfortable to be around. Like just, you're in my house, like you're in my space. And I'm like having to talk about things, you know, on camera. There's already like something that can make me nervous. But you weren't like making me more nervous. You actually made it easier. So
thank you. Thank you. I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Real talk. He made me a little warm too. And yeah, even like for you, like I think, I mean, there's a lot of different things I could say, but I would say probably my favorite thing about you is that you are very, I would say, sociable. Like you are very approachable in terms of like you can spark a conversation with anybody. You know, you just met Jason like how many minutes ago? We already cracking jokes.
I feel like I know him.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and like you're very just easygoing in that regard, where people are very standoffish and people really much don't really socialize that often, or they don't really communicate as well, or they don't necessarily even want to be in a space with people. You always make spaces feel more inviting. And, you know, that's just always an amazing thing, you know, always an amazing thing to be around too. Thank you know, speaking of the podcast, you know, yeah, I do produce the podcast when she don't be trying to do it by herself. You know, the times when she be,
I was just trying to go for volume, you know, sometimes you just got to get it out.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And we can go for volume, but you know, she be trying to do it without me, and then the episodes becoming, you know,
they be having no volume on them.
Yeah, no volume on the episode. She trying to crank the volume on the videos, but no volume on the actual video. So kind of just talk about what made you want to get into podcasting.
I started doing YouTube videos like in 2016, and it was really hard, but like I knew that I wanted to do it because I knew that it was a way for me to get what I wanted to say out to more people. And I felt like I was just made to do it. You know, I feel like it's a gift that I have. And if I just work at the parts that were hard, which was, I guess, the anxiety part of it, that I would like be able to do a lot of impactful work. So I guess my purpose behind it, or my motivation, is being able to share my journey of growth and have that help somebody else on their journey of growth. That's really the simplest.
No, that's dope. And I think that you speak on a lot of things just on your show that are really poignant and really needed, you know, even just when, you know, you have episodes where you've done meditations in the episodes, and you've talked about just a variety of mindfulness things, and even just knowing yourself on a sexual basis. You know, people, as much as people love sex nowadays, people don't love talking about it on like more of a deeper level of just what it means for you and your body, and just how you know, build relationships and things of that nature. You know, so just kind of speak on just like what made you even like get into these avenues in terms of like talking about it on the podcast, like even helping people with their relationships, helping people with their sexual health, helping people in just those regards, which again, as untaboo sex is in terms of like the monetization and, you know, just the objectifying of people's bodies, but not necessarily the conversations of like what health and wellness in the sexual space are important.
Yeah, and that was my goal, was to talk about sex as a avenue of like wellness, a path of wellness. That's really what it is. And so, and all my content, like I'm not giving out blowjob tips and stuff. Like I'm really talking about how you are connected to yourself sexually. Because sexual energy is creative energy. And you know me, I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
And so it's literally like a foundation of how I function and how I think most people function, whether they acknowledge it or not. Because when you have any kind of dysfunction or disconnection sexually, usually there's some other like root issue behind that, whether it's, anxiety, emotional disconnection with who you're with, trauma, even physical sedentary lifestyle is going to affect your function. And so I talk about that on some of my episodes too. So it's really foundational. Like if you are going to avoid any conversation around sex when it comes to your personal health and wellness, then you're kind of missing a huge factor, and it's going to show up anyways in your experiences. So I think that is the best thing to do is to just like incorporate it into your wellness journey. And that's what I've done in my conversation. It's just incorporated. It's not the main thing I talk about, but it's very naturally weaved in because to me, that is natural,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think even I'm thinking about, like I said, how things work. If you don't understand how your organs work, how your reproductive organs work, how emotional connection, mental connection is a necessary part of a whole sexual experience, like you're going to have a dissatisfactory experience or you're going to feel like something's missing. And so for me, like to have a holistic experience and to really know yourself, you got to incorporate sexual wellness and that energy. It's already there. So you can't really ignore it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, even just speaking from what you said about how sexual energy is, the same as creative energy, being able to create or just being able to, express yourself, however that looks, is definitely for me one of the most important things. I'm, practicing celibacy. We had to be real quiet after I said that. We had to
a moment of silence for his sex life.
It's
I'm thinking that you're just channeling that energy into your creativity.
Nah, for sure. Yeah. Because one thing I've noticed is that when I was giving a lot of myself to another person, even if it wasn't like sexual, but just romantically in general, a lot of my creativity went to the back burner because of that. So I found myself in a lot of situations where I wasn't creating at such a high level when I was with somebody, or if I was constantly focused on making that situation work, whether it be sexual, whether it just be romantic, whatever the case may be. Obviously, like platonic friendships, relationships, family, things of that nature is a lot easier to manage, at least for me. But when you start entwining those like super intense connections of, just sexual energy, of, romantic energy, it kind of, for me, in my experience, is taken away from my efforts in being creative. So, mainly I try to find a balance. So as much as I say I'm practicing celibacy, it's really just a matter of how can I balance so that I can have both ways, right? I don't want to do anything to detriment who I am as a creative, because like you, being a creative is all I know. Even when I had a job, that's all I've ever done. Just create. So, and even if I decide to retire from doing this professionally ever again, I will always create.
You're still gonna have to.
I'm still gonna do it. So, at some point, that means that I would like to have a wife. I would like to have those relationships still. So it's just kind of like at some point the balance still has to be there. And one thing that I've kind of just been learning too is that it's all about like the right person as well.
Yeah.
So like having that dynamic with the right person, it's never really going to be an issue in terms of me being able to give to my creativity at the same time. Yeah. But, if it's the wrong person, then you always find yourself pouring into that relationship in like a never ending well.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. And then you're right. It's the right person, right? Because you look at some of your favorite creators and they're seemingly hypersexual, right? Or they have like a source of sexual stimulation that also feeds into their creativity. I don't know what that person's getting reciprocated, if they're feeling like they're getting reciprocated, but you can see their creativity is flowing and they're also very highly sexually stimulated. I think I like Kanye. And so
I don't even want to know. I think, wow.
It depends, right? He has his muses.
Now his cousin nowadays.
What?
Yeah, we ain't hear the cousin joint?
We need to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We talking about Kanye. Kanye, who was
Are we talking about with his cousin? He was
yeah, he was playing the flute with his cousin.
Yeah.
Playing his cousin's flute on the
That was
track.
when he was a little teenager.
I didn't need to know about it ever. He's like 40 and he been out forever.
That is a childhood trauma. Okay, that
and I understand that. I understand that, but I'm not his therapist. For one,
we are not.
For two,
I don't think he has one.
I think that if those are the things he need to heal from, and even on an artistic level, there are ways to convey that. And it also should have been long before you started saying all the other crazy stuff you were saying. Like you wearing the Klan hood. You talking all this crazy stuff about the Jewish community, and now you talking about you was doing this with the cousin. Like, nah, I don't really.
It's all tumbling out.
Yeah, nah. But I do see what you're saying because
before all that came out, what I'm thinking of is my perspective is older. Years ago, we're looking at the different like girlfriends he's had, and the different ways that like he's hypersexual. Like
yeah,
right.
I can see
and
that.
So
just being a fan of music, you can hear it.
And and so you can see his music changes based on who he's dating as well. And he's not the only one. Like you can see that in a lot of artists. Like I think like one of my other favorite rappers is Juicy J. Like he's
crazy.
Yeah. So crazy, I think that artists, and then I think about artists like Glorilla. She was celibate for a while in order to like just focus on her music. And she fed all her energy into her music, right? So she kind of went the route that you did. So I really think that it depends on finding the right person who is going to help stoke your fire and feed into it without draining it. And also be somebody that you can grow with parallel and together. But like what happens when we go in relationships where we start to feel drained is we start to merge and become like one person sometimes. And that's when you feel like you're losing yourself because you're kind of like merging into this, other entity. And I believe that every relationship creates another entity where it's like, you are you, I am me, we come together. That's a third entity. And like, even, for people that, are raised in the church like me, one of the verses is like, where two or more are gathered, there I am also. Right. To me, that's any relationship, you are forming another, that's a creative entity, like another entity, like, that's where God is, like it's creation. So that can be done in different ways because you can have toxic bonds, right? You can have bonds that are like really like good for each other and these people grow well together. And I think what I've learned, because I used to do that, I'll lose myself in a relationship. And I've learned to stay a whole person separately from the relationship and support them in doing the same thing and like really focus on my goals instead of like allowing my mind to go from focus on my goals to now this person is here and I love them, I want them to be happy and I really want to make them happy and all this, and my thoughts start to fill up with that. I'm preoccupied now with making them happy in the relationship and I forget about this. But there's a way to do it where you stay focused on your goals and then you have time with the relationship, but you don't allow it to consume your whole mind. Yeah. And I think that happens with all of us, even with parents, where they have kids and you got to be a good parent and care about your kids and take care of them. But if you can become consumed with only that and you lose your personness, your identity, then you're not going to be happy, and that's why you have a lot of parents who regret having kids. It's not a kid's fault. It's because the parents lost their identity in parenthood. And I think that we all have that ability to maintain a sense of identity, stay focused on your goals, even when it's hard. Like, I do want to see you 5 days a week because I love you. And I'm like, I really like it. I want to spend all my time with you. But I should not cancel my commitments. I should not, take time away from my creative time. Like I used to be in the studio for hours. Now I'm dating you. Now I go there once a month. And then it's going to come less and less and less. So we have to notice how those things start to chip away. And when they do, you got to hold yourself accountable because you know what's happening. You're like, oh, you're starting to put more on this. You're losing your focus. And then sometimes there's ways to bring your partner in on it. Like have them become a part of your creative process or even be your muse so that now it's not just you focused on it and taking away, trying to inner battle yourself from focus on the relationship. Now the relationship is also focused on your stuff. and the relationship is focused on their stuff. And you guys are mutually invested in each other's success. And it takes maintenance. It takes awareness. And so I think that that's the path that I'm on, because I have a history of losing myself. And I don't want that anymore, because it's not the person's fault. You're not going to be happy. You're going to eventually find problems in the relationship that ain't got nothing to do with them. It's actually you, because you're not happy. You're not fulfilled. And you're looking for that person to fulfill you. And you think they owe you that because you put all your mental space on them, right? But they don't owe you that. You did that. Now, find your way back to balance.
Nah, yeah, same. I've done that more than a couple times, for sure.
Yeah.
Just not really finding happiness within myself as much trying to find it within others, and just feeling like I wouldn't be full without another person.
Yeah.
And, I'm definitely 1,000% better than I was at that. I just feel way more complete now that I've just focused more on myself and let things be what they're going to be. I think that one of the biggest things, divine timing, in everything, with the right person comes into your life. It could be the right person, but not even the right time. You know what I mean? Like, I tell people about my lock journey, and I'll show you the picture after should I put the picture in the video? I'm not going to put the picture in the video because I don't need y'all. I'm not doing that.
No, we want to see it.
You can see it. I'm pretty sure you saw it real time in real life as it was happening.
Are really motivating.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like, it was just one of those journeys that like I had to really, like, my ugly phase was crazy. Okay, we see the locks flowing today.
We love a good glow up. Come on, we love a good glow up.
It's just kind of like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, pouring into myself in that experience, and just kind of like understanding what it meant to do something like that I'd never done before.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how do I balance doing this now, adding this part of my life, and how do I, maneuver, and how do I not look crazy, and how do I not feel crazy? And it's just kind of like, it's all a part of like the development, So I use that as an example to say that it's parts that I needed to find within myself that I could have only done by myself. And I couldn't have necessarily been in a relationship starting my life journey, because as soon as, like, if you my girl and then you say, like, as soon as you do this phase, I'm like, all right, I'm about to go ahead and say this whole on off. And you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, again, like, I'm so much happier that I did go on that journey, because I think that these past 5 years, going on 6, have been like just transformative. Not even just like, I'm not talking about my hair anymore, but just in all areas of my life. And I just, one of the many foundational steps was that, in terms of finding what it meant to be happy by myself, be happy and full within myself, and find fulfillment in my life without needing the another person to be there, or needing like the opinions of others to dictate it. And it even helped me create more freely. This podcast was another situation like that, where, I didn't really know if it was ever going to go anywhere. I didn't really know if anybody cared to hear me speak about anything long period. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I really didn't know, but I still took the leap anyway. And again, like, any type of judgment would have hindered it. And I've been in relationships where I was trying to create, and then my significant other said that they didn't like it, and I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. And honestly, I think, I had a relationship where I initially started my business, and I told her the name, and she said she didn't like the name. And I don't know what it was in that moment, or even just, she said it not as nice as how I just said it, but something in that moment told me, yeah, we're not going to be together too much longer.
Not supportive enough.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I went off to, obviously we didn't stay together, which was correct. And then I went off and, took that name and then branched it off into like where the current business is now. And again, it's just stuff that if I had listened to her right then and there, it's development I would have never gotten.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And then, not only would I have gotten it, but when it still wouldn't be in a relationship. So then it's just kind of like, I listen to somebody who ain't even in my life no more. So, I think that the influence of others is major.
Yeah.
And I think that learning yourself is knowing when to listen to people, when to get the criticism. How do you receive criticism? Because even I don't know if you can talk about this, but just times where you did something that people told you not to do or told you in a constructive way wouldn't work, but you believed it in enough and it worked out for you. Like, do you have experiences like that? I mean, it's cool if you didn't. I love that for you.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've had a lot of support. Like, maybe I haven't taken enough risks to where somebody was like, no, that's not a good idea. But typically, I've had a lot of support in the things that I want to do. And I did have a relationship similar to yours where they didn't want me talking about sex. Right. So some time ago, I took a break from talking about anything about sex in my content. Even though I'm, the way that I talk about it is like necessary and I incorporate it. Wasn't like disrespectful or anything, but they weren't comfortable with it. And, out of respect for my relationship, I stopped. And so let's say if I didn't listen to that, I might have been further in my, podcasting at this point, because I had to take a break and kind of like recalibrate, because I was like, okay, not doing that no more. What am I going to do now? And so, yeah, that was something that I actually listened to it because I wanted to keep the relationship, right? That might have hindered it. But I always trust God's timing, I trust everything. I trust my journey. So I did listen to that, and then not in that relationship no more either. So
hey, won't he do it?
Yeah. So then I realized too, it pushes me further to know what I do need in my relationships, what I'm looking for that does work for me. And there's a certain kind of support, and I guess compatibility that I'm looking for, and that helped me. That experience helped me, because I'm like, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where my partner wants me to stop talking about what I'm talking about, right? Especially if it's part of my creative journey and like my healing journey, and also helping others heal. So that was I think all those things are you just got to trust the path, because what else can you do? It happened, you got to make the best of it, and everything that we go through is like a stepping stone if you use it right.
Of course. Yeah. I've had I think everybody who ever doubted me ain't in my life no more in any capacity, and everybody who really supported are still here to this day.
Maybe that's why I don't remember, because they ain't out here.
Yeah, true. It's
like I threw out the baby and the bath water, because it was all baby.
I just remember that moment, because it was just like, that was like the infancy of where I'm at today. Mm-hmm. And just like, I just think about that sometimes, where I'm just like, dang, what if I really had listened to Shorty and she was leading me astray? Because I mean, I ain't gonna put whatever her business was, but she just wasn't in like the same headspace as me at the time. Mm-hmm. And just in terms of even just doing any parts of this. And, even I wasn't fully aware of how far I wanted to take it, at least in that moment. But I knew that I wanted to at least pivot, make that change. Right. And, just even like pivot to a space. That's when I started not necessarily journaling, but just writing my goals down, and just like what I wanted for myself. And I told myself I wanted to be doing this full time, and I wanted to be making a certain amount of money to do it. And I did the math on like how much money a month I wanted to be making by doing it. And that was around the same time I made the name. And not only, the name isn't really, really relevant per se, but it was just like, it just kind of felt like you wasn't believing in the mission or believing in what I wanted to do. And, I never gave her that. I'm super supportive, to anybody and anything that they want to do, as long as you're not hurting people, as long as you're not doing anything with malice or, just malicious intent. I will always support you in what you do. So, to not support me, and if it was like, if I was doing something crazy, that's one thing. Like if I said, all right, we're going to change this name so I can put this ski mask on so that we can hit a Navy Federal and, hit this lick real quick. But it was like, nah, I want to just pivot into seeing what entrepreneurship looks like in any degree. You know what I mean? And you
need support from whoever you're in a relationship with. Like, that's a non-negotiable. Yeah. It's being supportive. And even if, everybody has their opinions, but it's also how you speak on those opinions that are not, you never like step on people's dreams. That's kind of like a principle that I have. And so that's important to me. I don't think I could tolerate anybody at this point, now that, you're going through the experience. I'm sure you're the same way. Like, if that feeling came up again, you're like, nah, that's not going to work. Like,
for sure. Now I do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
And you're either gonna get with it or you're not gonna be here.
Nah, for sure. Listen, and that's with anything and everybody. You know, I've lost a lot of people, both to the grave and to just people walking out of my life. And, you know, it just kind of showed me that my personal development doesn't necessarily come at the detriment of what I've lost, but as much as what I've learned.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I didn't learn nothing from being in a relationship with that person, then it was no point. If I didn't learn nothing from my friendship with you or my friendship with Jason, or then there's no need for us to really be friends. You know what I mean? You know, and it's not something that you even know when you first meet people. Like when I first met you, I didn't think we'd be sitting here doing an interview at all. You know what I'm saying? This was like, I think I was trying to essentially help you with your podcast.
Yeah.
You
I
know
made
what
sure
I'm
the
saying?
podcast meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just trying to, you know, just meet people that way. And then, you know, being able to build a relationship, you know, came out to our events. We done did your podcast. Now you're a guest on mine. Hopefully I'll be one of the first guests on yours whenever you open that door to to happening.
Well, I mean, you the one who's gonna film it and produce it, so.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
You might need Jason's help on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have to see what his availability look like. He a busy guy, but you know, you never really know where the journey takes you, but you learn within yourself is understanding what you will and won't tolerate, like you said. So just knowing what relationships do and don't work is super pivotal, even on the mindfulness journey. You know, so. I mean, can you tell us a little bit more just about what it means to not necessarily even like build a relationship with other people, but building that relationship with yourself first? Like I know you said journaling. I know you spoke on meditation. I know you spoke on a lot of these different things, but for someone who wants to be stronger in these areas, who wants to build better relationships with people around them, wants a better understanding of themselves, you know, what would be like their crash course in your opinion? Like some of the first steps you would give them?
I think the first steps would be having the will and intention to get to know yourself. And if we look at whenever we have like a breakup or some kind of thing where we lose something, a job, usually we will start to go back to God in some way. Even if you don't believe in any religion, you're going back to God. You are trying to connect spiritually to something, some deeper part of you, right? Find meaning, find purpose. And all that says is that there's a disconnection. And now without all this distraction, whether the distraction was relationship, trying to repair that, or this job, trying to, you know, be successful in that, like after all that's gone, what you have left is you and your existence. Why are you here? What do you want out of this short life that we have? And asking those questions to yourself first, and knowing that there's nobody like in your head, within your heart, there's no judgment. Like don't nobody know what's going on in there but you. And so it's the safest space that you have. And when you know that you have the safest space, like when you set that scene for yourself, like there's no, I'm in the safest space, there's no risk here. Like what do I really want? Like, and how am I getting in the way of that? And like, how can I be more loving to myself like I would love somebody that's not me? That's usually a good sign too, because sometimes we're blinded to how we're not loving ourselves. But if your friend or your family member, your significant other comes to you, somebody you love and care about, tells you their problems, you would give them, you know, this loving advice, or you would, you know, have grace for them. And if you wouldn't, then that's already another thing. Like, okay, so there's a lack of compassion that I have, you know, a lack of grace that I have. And sometimes you'll find that through reading a certain book. I always think that books are really good kickstarters to any growth journey. And so the way that I pick a book is, what is like one problem I can identify. So a lot of people have dealt with like anxious attachment in relationships. Find a book, look at the ratings, you know, watch videos, find a book that is about the problem that you can identify with, and start your journey there. Read, it'll open up your mind to different questions. It'll probably give you some things to implement in your life. Those are great, because we need training wheels. We need help, we need support. And sometimes we don't even know how to help ourselves. So I always think a book is a good way to do that. It's even easier than me telling you, go out and join a support group. Nah, That's hard to do if you think about it, right? Like, I'm very extroverted. I love people. People love me, but I don't be going to groups. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm feeling sad. Let me go out to a meetup and talk with other sad people. Like, no, the easiest thing for me to do is sit with myself. That's the safest space that I have. To read a book, to inspire some more thoughts and ideas that maybe I can come up with myself. So that would be the starting point. Like find a book that resonates with something that you identify you want to fill in yourself, a void that you want to fill in. Because at the end of the day, like, we are whole people already, but there's some disconnection that we have, whether it's how our thoughts, our beliefs, based on our experiences, that's disconnecting us from that. But you're always still a whole person. You're actually not over here. You're not fragmented in different parts of the world. Like, you're all here. You just can't feel it. You might not be able to sense it. And one of the biggest things for me that I wanted to jump back into was spontaneous happiness. Like, I've always been a happy person. And, I went through some things, huge transition, even moving here to Georgia, where I was more in a protective, defensive space. And because of that, like, my thoughts are different. I'm thinking worst case scenarios. I'm more not trusting, forgetting or losing out on moments that are just like really great because I'm worried about something in my head. And so I'm like, okay, how can I get back to that spontaneous joy that is always there? It hasn't gone nowhere. Can nobody take away your happiness? It's just you not being able to connect to it. And so I'm like, okay, how can I get out of my way and be able to connect to that easier? And those are questions that only you know the answer to, So yeah, find something. A book is a great starting point. Even if that book is the Bible, for some people that might resonate with you, get the Bible out again, read it with fresh eyes, and it might inspire something within you that's like, oh, but everything that you need is inside of you, like, there's nothing that's outside, no person, no desire, no money that can fill this imaginary void that you have, because you're not void at all. You are a full person. So that's something I want people to remember, is that everything you need is already there. It's just your journey of working your way back to be able to sense it and connect with it.
Nah, yeah, that's dope. Yeah. That's dope. I've been doing the same thing. Just even when you say the Bible, I started reading the Bible from the beginning, for the first time in years.
It's probably different than when you were reading it.
Totally different. Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of things. I don't know if I was just reading the kiddie version of the Bible back in the day. Like, some of this was omitted.
Yeah. Or maybe because you want to. Because I remember when I was reading it, it was like boot camp. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, happy to do it. I just had to. Yeah,
like, you just speeding to get the main points. And just like
memorizing things because you had to. You want to impress people. Yeah. But now it's like, I'm seeking something in this. And so you open it up and it's more of like a living
like
word,
just
right?
more comprehending.
Has more coming out at you than before.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been an experience for sure. And but yeah, thank you so much for sharing your insights. Definitely amazing person, amazing just mindset, and just I hope a lot of people got something real special from this.
I hope so too.
Yeah. But we not done though. See, yeah, boy, I get them every time with that. We gonna do trivia first. We gonna go to break, but let's see what you know. So we'll be right back.
Let's come up with these questions.
This video is sponsored by Chop House Media Group. Now listen, podcasting is hard. All right, there's a lot of moving parts to a successful podcast, whether it be the shooting side, the post-production side, the audio mixing and mastering. Just having the right strategy and know how to even get this podcast in the right places and getting it into the right positions to get monetized. And that is where Chop House Media Group helps out at. We have coined the phrase the podcast in the box, where we pretty much facilitate anything and everything that you need to run a successful podcast, between the production, the post-production, the strategy, and tips and tricks that you need to be 1,000% successful in every single aspect of your podcasting career. Now, if you are interested in being a part of this and making sure that you get your podcast to the next level, whether you are just now starting out your podcast or you are already in the podcasting field but want to take it to another level, be sure to hit the link below and schedule your free consultation with us to make sure that we get your podcast up and going further than you can ever imagine. All right, again, thank you to Chop House Media Group for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the show. All right, and we're back. All right, Courtney, you ready? We got trivia popping. Right. So essentially, this is how it works. If you haven't seen it, essentially we have 3 questions for you. They're going to be multiple choice questions, so it's no pressure. It's all catered to you specifically. If you get 2 out of the 3 right, you get a cash prize. If you get 2 out of 3 wrong, we give it to the audience. Now, to win a cash prize as an audience member, if she were to get the questions wrong, first and foremost, you got to be subscribed to the YouTube channel. Second, you got to make sure you like this video. And third, comment your favorite moment from the episode. We done said a lot of stuff on this episode. I know there was something that you liked. Anything. Yeah, come on. When we was talking about sex, you didn't like that? You didn't like no part of that? Nothing she said about it? All right. I don't even know. But yeah, that's how you become eligible to win the cash prize. And then we'll randomly select someone from the comment section to win. So usually I have my producer, Javane. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. There's nothing wrong with him. He's perfectly fine. He just had other obligations. So shout out to Javane. He will be back. But I do have my big brother, Jason, my little big brother. I'm actually older than him. But, you know, that's my brother, Jason, here to provide the questions and, you know, just be the producer for the day. So, Jason, how we looking? How we feeling, man? How what the questions look like? And then also, hold on, before you even say anything, let me also say this too. I didn't make these questions. I didn't read these questions. I had no part of this questions.
Scared.
Jason also did not make these questions either. Javane, even though he ain't here, he made the questions. I love you, Javane, but you be having people on my neck about this, and I really don't have no part of it. And I just
so now
sure
I know who to come for then.
Exactly. I'll send you his contact information. All right, now you can go, Jason.
All right. So, Courtney, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
All right, let's
I'm a little nervous though.
You're gonna do good. I don't know what the questions are about.
Being nervous is very interesting about the context of this very first question, because this question is: which essential oil is most commonly associated with reducing stress and promoting relaxation?
Okay.
So, is it A, peppermint, B, tea tree, C, lavender, D, eucalyptus?
We said relaxation.
Promoting, reducing stress and promoting relaxation.
Oh, lavender.
Okay. She said that with confidence. That is correct.
Okay. All right.
C for correct. All right. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. What is the name of the part of the nervous system responsible for the rest and digest state activated by meditation? Is it A, central nervous system, B, sympathetic nervous system, C, parasympathetic nervous system, or D, endocrine system?
C, relax and digest is your parasympathetic.
C is for correct again.
2 C's?
2 C's.
Right?
Javane,
I'm like, y'all trying to play with me?
Javane be going crazy. Some days it'd be ridiculous, and then it'd be 2 C's back to back. Like, what are we doing?
And Courtney too. Like,
and Court, come on, man.
Remember the old adage, like back at school, you know, if you didn't know the answer, just bubble C.
That's
but
true.
then you have a roll of C, and you just be like, wait a minute, all these can't be. Let me.
And then you just switch it up just because. And now you're wrong.
What if it was? What if they just fucking with you?
Well, we're going to see if it's all C today.
Right. Which brainwave, okay, question number 3. Which brainwave frequency is associated with deep meditation and relaxed awareness? Is it A, beta, B, gamma, C, alpha, D, delta?
Deep relaxation and what else?
Relaxed awareness. So deep meditation and relaxed awareness. And it was A, beta, B, gamma, C, alpha, or D, delta.
Wow. That's
I
should know this too.
Word.
Oh. I'm gonna have to go with relaxed focus and meditation.
Deep meditation and relaxed awareness.
The answer I'm looking for is not in there. That's why.
Want to hear it again?
Yeah, give it to me again.
All right. Is it A, beta?
No, do the question again.
Oh, which brainwave frequency is associated with deep meditation and relaxed awareness? Is it A, beta, B, gamma, C, alpha, D, delta?
I'm going to have to say gamma.
That is B for bad. Was it correct? It was actually alpha.
Oh,
C.
my God, I was going to go with that. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, ain't gamma the shit that turned Bruce Banner to the Hulk?
No, gamma's actually like even like deeper relaxation. Like I think gamma's like Tibetan monks get into gamma, I think.
So
yeah.
It's crazy because I heard you say, like, he put a bonus in there. She did get the bonus, like, from what I heard. It was like bonus. Delta is for deep sleep. And
like I know my brainwaves. I'm just like, I should know this. Yeah, I should have went with my first thought, which is alpha.
Or C.
Or C, yeah. I'm not even paying attention to those letters, as you can tell. I don't care about the letters. I'm literally going for the word.
I was like, he did straight C's. He did do straight C's. That's why I was like, it was funny.
Yeah, I'm coming for him.
But
he a wild nigga, man.
So, but I got the bonus. So,
you got the 2 out of 3 right. Yeah, so you got the prize.
So it's alpha. That is deep relaxation. Because really, I'm thinking theta is meditation. That's typically what I would go for.
That is also the second part of the bonus. Theta is for deep meditation and dreams.
Okay, so what was he doing? I guess it's just the phrasing of the question.
Which it says associated with deep meditation and relaxed awareness. So you were looking for theta.
Yeah, I was looking for theta. That's why I had you read it three times, because I'm like, that's what I teach.
What's up with your man?
Yeah, like, that's all right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I get these too.
Y'all put my reputation online. I gotta know brainwave states.
Yeah, Chat GPT.
I can't confirm or not where he's getting these.
That might have been what it was.
I can't really.
Chat's like,
maybe the answer's in a previous episode. I don't know, but I don't know. Listen, man. Shout out to Javane. If y'all, like I tell y'all all the time, y'all got a problem with any of these questions, that's the one you need to be talking to. All right.
Those are actually good questions, though. Like those are good ones, because they're useful too for people to know.
Yeah, we try to make sure that we cater, strictly to you as the
I like
guest.
to use lavender. I used to like spray it on my pillow before I go to bed.
I say splash it. I was like, damn.
Well, I was splashing it, but that's kind of trifling.
Like
you splashing you splashing
arson,
actual droplets of pure essential oil on your pillow. So then I put it into an alcohol mist, shook it, and then sprayed it. That's actually a better application. Yeah, it's more even too.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Well, Courtney, I appreciate you coming through, gracing us on this fine episode. This was a really dope episode. It's really good.
I think so too. I actually am looking forward to listening to it.
For sure. And just let people know where they can find you, where they can reach you if they had anything else that they wanted to work with you with or anything like that.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, Green Body. So GR33 in body, Green Body. And if you have any, other like business questions, it's garnergrowth@gmail.com. GARNER growth@gmail.com.
And don't forget to check out the podcast.
The podcast. Oh, I'm sorry. That's YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is Garner Growth. That's the name of the channel. Pretty simple. And there's a whole meditation playlist on there that I'm growing and recording new meditations on there. So look at that. And also check out the sexual wellness playlist, because it has a lot of information, plenty of episodes on that. So if that's something that you're interested in, there's playlists for that too.
I had to tell her to promote the podcast.
I know.
We're going to get it right, man.
I need to get better at promoting myself.
We're going to get it right,
I just be liking to share information and talk to people.
No, that's real. Well, again, thank you, Courtney, for coming through. I appreciate you. Like I said, it was a very, very insightful episode, But that's it from us, here at Chop Logic. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.